You ever wonder what it feels like to chase your dream and lose everything in the process? This isn't just another rags to riches story. It's not about luck. It's not about some overnight success. This is about a kid kicked out of his own house at 18 because he dared to choose passion over permission. With nothing but a backpack, a pair of beat-up sneakers, and a fire inside him that refused to die, he went from sleeping under streetlights to building something so real, even the people who once erased him tried to come back into the picture. This story will make you rethink what success really looks like. And trust me, you don't want to miss how it all unfolds. So before we dive in, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support truly means the world to us, and it helps us keep telling stories that matter. My name is Malik, and I still remember the way the door slammed behind me. Not loud, not dramatic, just final. I had no suitcase, no plan, no goodbye hug. Just a backpack, a pair of old sneakers, and $47 in my pocket. And a letter. Handwritten. Folded twice. Still smelled like my mother's perfume. That was all I had left of home. The first night hit hard. I sat on a cold metal bench under a broken street lamp that blinked like it could not decide whether to die or stay alive. Kind of like me, honestly. It started raining. Light at first. Then harder. My hoodie soaked through in minutes. I pulled the letter from my bag. Not because I wanted to read it again, but because I needed to feel something. Anything. My dear Malik, I do not agree with what you're doing, but I will always love you, even from far away. Be strong. And do not forget who you are.
Mom.
That line burned, because it was the last time anyone in my family ever said anything to me. After I left, no one called. No texts. No, are you okay? Nothing. It was like I had been erased. Deleted from their perfect little family script.
Why?
Because I did not want to go to college. Because I wanted to build something that was mine. Freedom. Ownership. Legacy. But in my father's world, full of suits, polished floors, and Ivy League diplomas, that kind of talk made me a joke. A disgrace. An embarrassment. He looked me dead in the eye that morning and said, "If you will not follow the path we prepared, then get out." No hesitation. No second chance. So I left. Not because I wanted to, but because I had to. I was 18. Angry. Terrified. But somehow more alive than ever. The first night on the street is something nobody prepares you for. The silence is the loudest part. People walk by like you do not exist. Cars keep going, and you sit there, alone, wondering if you made the biggest mistake of your life. I did not sleep. Not really. I leaned against the wall, hugging my backpack, watching the rain bounce off the sidewalk. Somewhere around 3 a.m, a raccoon ran across the street and made me jump. That was the closest thing I had to a friend that night. I wanted to cry. And maybe I did. But not for long, because something inside me whispered, "You are broke, but you are not broken." And that changed everything. The next morning, I walked 6 miles looking for something, anything I could do to stay alive. I ended up at a flea market, watching an old guy sell used sneakers out of a trunk. People actually bought them. I walked up to him and said, "Do you need help carrying your stuff?" He looked at me, then nodded slowly.
Sure.
"But I cannot pay you." I did not ask for money, I said. I just needed to be around something. Movement. Opportunity. Life. I carried his boxes. Stacked his shelves. Watched how he talked to customers. By noon, I realized something. People did not care if the shoes were new. They just wanted to feel cool. Wanted the story. The look. The flex. And right then, it hit me. Maybe I could do this. Maybe I could start small.
Sell something.
Build something. One pair at a time. That night, I found a public library that left their Wi-Fi on after hours. I sat outside with my phone, watching TikToks about sneaker flipping. I took notes on crumpled paper from a nearby donation bin. I wrote down brand names, drop dates, reseller forums, anything I could find. I was hungry. Freezing. But something had shifted. I was no longer just trying to survive. I was starting to think again. To plan.
To chase.
I knew it would be ugly. I knew nobody was coming to save me. But I also knew this. The world had already turned its back on me, so I had nothing left to lose. And maybe that was my biggest advantage. I sold my first pair of sneakers 3 days after getting kicked out. They were not mine. I found them in a garbage bag behind a gym. Size 10. Dirty, creased, laces torn. But they were Jordans. I cleaned them with a wet napkin I stole from a fast food joint. Let them dry on a cardboard box under the sun. Then I walked around holding them up like a trophy. $50, I said to strangers. Most laughed. Some ignored me. But one guy stopped, looked me up and down. You steal those? No, I said straight-faced. I saved them. He nodded, pulled out 2 20s and a 10.
40.
Take it or leave it. I took it, because $40 felt like $1 million. That night I bought a burger, fries, and saved the rest. I sat in a laundromat that never closed. The kind with flickering lights and broken vending machines. I looked around. No one watching. So I pulled out my phone, connected to their Wi-Fi, and opened TikTok. I searched for how to flip sneakers. And there it was. Thousands of videos. Teenagers unboxing shoes. Guys making cash stacks off one drop. Tutorials. Reviews.
Apps.
Websites. It was a whole world I had never seen before. And suddenly I was obsessed. Every night after that, I found new Wi-Fi spots. Libraries, laundromats, even fast food places after they closed. I sat on sidewalks with my hoodie up, watching video after video, taking notes on receipts, napkins, whatever I could find. I learned about resale values, drop calendars, apps like SNKRS and GOAT. I learned the difference between real and fake. I learned that the right size could double the price. It was crazy. Like learning a new language. Only this one could feed me. I started dumpster diving behind thrift shops. Sometimes I got lucky. Old Converse. Used Vans. Once, a pair of Yeezy slides. Most days, just trash. But I kept digging. I washed the shoes in public bathrooms. Dried them in parks. Sold them on Facebook Marketplace using a fake address and a prepaid phone. I was not proud. But pride does not matter when your stomach is empty. One day, while sitting behind a bus stop, a kid walked by wearing a beat-up pair of Air Max. I pointed. You selling those? He looked at me like I was crazy. These? They are falling apart. I will trade you a burger and $10. He blinked, then smiled.
Deal.
I cleaned them up, listed them online, and made $60 by the next day. Every win gave me a reason to stay up longer, work harder. I started dreaming again, not about houses or cars, but about building something I could actually call mine. One night, I overheard 2 guys talking outside a sneaker store. Big drop this Friday. You in? Of course. Midnight online. You better have your bot ready. Bot. I had heard the word before, but never paid attention. That night, I searched it up. Bots were automated tools that checked out shoes faster than any human could. People used them to buy multiple pairs during online drops, then flip them for profit. Problem was, bots were expensive. Some cost hundreds. But I found a forum thread with a free version. Sketchy, barely working, but it was something. I borrowed a Chromebook from a community center. Installed the bot. It crashed the first time. Froze the second. But I kept trying. I was tired,
Cold.
hungry, but also alive. Every click felt like rebellion, like telling the world, you thought I would disappear, but I am still here. I got scammed a few times. One guy sent me Monopoly money. Another gave me a fake PayPal receipt. But I learned.
Fast.
I stopped trusting smiles. Started asking the right questions. Set meetups in public places. Took photos of every transaction. Still broke. Still sleeping wherever I could. But now I had something to fight for. One day, a message came through my resale app. Hey, love your hustle. You got more sizes. It was from a guy with thousands of followers. A reseller. I replied, not yet, but I will. He said, "Hit me when you do. I like how you move." I smiled for the first time in weeks, because that was the first time someone saw me not as a homeless kid, but as a hustler, a builder, a real one. And I swore to myself right then, I was going to turn this grind into something bigger, something real, even if it killed me. I had just been chased off a sidewalk for the third time that week. Some guys from the neighborhood came up, said I was selling on the wrong block. I told them I was not trying to step on anyone's toes. One of them shoved me anyway. Another grabbed my shoes and tossed them into the street. I picked them up in silence.
Torn. Wet.
Ruined. That night, I sat behind an old diner with nothing to eat and nothing to sell.
No one talked to me.
No one cared. And for the first time in weeks, I felt it creeping in.
Doubt.
Like, maybe my father was right. Maybe I was nothing without the life he carved out for me. I pulled my hoodie over my head, leaned back against the brick wall, and stared up. The sky was full of stars that night. The kind of night that made you feel small but seen. I do not know why I pulled out my phone. It was almost dead. Maybe 5% left. But I did anyway. I connected to the diner's Wi-Fi. Scrolled through sneaker forums. Just habit at that point. And then I saw it. A post. 1 minute old. All caps. Jordan dropped live early. Glitching. Go now. My heart stopped. I clicked the link. It was a site I knew. Huge retailer. Always sells out in seconds. But tonight something was off. The countdown was frozen. Buy buttons were showing up early. Sizes were still in stock. I did not think. I just opened the bot on the community center Chromebook I had stashed earlier. I sprinted 3 blocks to get it. Ran like my life depended on it. Because in some ways it did. I powered it on. Held my breath. Prayed it still had battery.
It did.
I logged in. Launched the bot. Plugged in the site URL. And watched it move.
Click.
Add to cart. Checkout.
Click.
Add to cart. Checkout. Over and over. My hands were shaking. My chest pounding. I did not even care which sizes I got. I just clicked. Anything. Everything. By the time the glitch was fixed, I had confirmation emails for 22 pairs.
22.
My brain could not process it. I stared at the screen like it was a lie. Like it was going to vanish. But it did not. They were real. And they were mine. I laughed. A quiet, cracked kind of laugh. The kind that comes from too much pressure suddenly letting go. But right after that laugh came fear. What if they cancel my orders? What if I cannot pay shipping? What if this was all some cruel joke? I did not sleep that night. I just sat in that dusty room, watching the emails, refreshing the screen, waiting for one of them to disappear. They never did. The next morning, I pawned my backup phone for extra cash. Enough to cover shipping. 3 days later, boxes started arriving at a friend's place. A guy I met at the flea market. I told him I needed an address. He said sure. No questions asked. When the boxes came, I almost cried. They were real. Each one sealed. Each one filled with sneakers I never dreamed I would even touch. I lined them up like trophies. 22 pairs. Real Jordans.
Clean. Fresh.
Hype. I took pictures. Made videos. Posted on TikTok with the caption, "From sleeping outside to flipping kicks. This is just the beginning." The video exploded. Thousands of views. Hundreds of comments. People asking for prices. Sizes. DMs flooding in. I sold out in 48 hours.
Every
single
pair.
And just like that, I had a few $1,000s in my hand. Real money. I could breathe again. But more than that, I could see again. Because that glitch? That was not luck. That was preparation meeting the exact moment the world blinked. And I did not. From that night on, I knew something deep in my bones. I was not just surviving anymore. I was building something. And the world had finally started to notice. The high lasted less than 24 hours. After the orders were confirmed and the boxes started rolling in, reality hit like a fist to the chest. I had exactly 2 days. 2 days before I ran out of food money. 2 days before I had to give up the place I was crashing in. 2 days before I was back on the street, hungry, cold, and holding a pile of shoes nobody cared about. I had no choice. I had to sell all 22 pairs.
Fast.
The first morning, I lined them up in front of the community center. No tables. No banners. Just cardboard boxes and cracked pavement. I shouted at anyone who walked by. Real Jordans. Fresh drops. No fakes. Check the box.
Some slowed down.
Most just kept walking.
Eyes down.
Ears closed. Like I was invisible again. A teenage kid with a skateboard stopped. How much for the black and red pair? $2.50. He laughed. Man, you wild. I can get those online for half that. Not in your size, I snapped. He rolled his eyes and skated off. My stomach growled. By noon, I had sold 1 pair.
1.
I walked into a fast food place, bought a cheeseburger, and saved the change. Then went straight back out. This time, I moved to a busier block. But the other sellers saw me. An older guy in a bomber jacket pulled me aside. You cannot sell here, kid. I am not taking your spot. I just need. He leaned closer. I said you cannot sell here. I nodded, picked up my boxes, walked 3 blocks down, set up again. Nothing. Just wind and rejection. I started posting everywhere. Facebook Marketplace. Craigslist.
TikTok.
Instagram. One post went semi-viral. I got a message. Can I buy 5 pairs? I will meet you at 5 p.m. My heart raced. That one buyer could save me. 5 p.m. came. I waited at the train station like I said in the message. Shoes lined up in a duffel bag. Hoodie on. Hope in my chest. He never showed. I sent messages. No reply. Called the number. No answer.
Gone.
That night, I curled up under a stairwell with $9 left. My shoes were safe, wrapped and stacked. But my faith was unraveling. I tried to sleep. Could not. I kept replaying the voice of my father. Dreams are for fools. Build something real, or get out of my house. Was this what I left for? To get scammed by strangers and frozen out by the street? I almost gave up. Almost. But something inside me refused. The next morning, I went to the barbershop 3 blocks over. The owner was always playing music loud, and guys lined up out the door every Saturday. I dropped a box of Jordans on the sidewalk right in front. Exclusive drop. Real deal. Come check them out. Someone yelled, "You got size 11?" I got everything. The crowd started to gather. One guy bought a pair. Then another. How much for 2? $4.50 if you pay now. Cash hit my hand. It snowballed. Word spread. Someone posted a video. A guy called me the sneaker kid. In 4 hours, I sold 10 pairs. Back-to-back deals. Loud voices. Fast hands. Real money. By sundown, I had only 4 boxes left. I was sweating. Exhausted.
Smiling.
But I was not done. I hit up the kid from the flea market. Asked if I could list some pairs in his booth. He nodded. You get 30%, I told him.
Deal.
He took 2 pairs. Sold both before the hour was up. By the end of day 2, I had sold 21 pairs. Only 1 left. A size 6 in a weird colorway. Hard to move. I posted it online anyway. Caption. Last pair. First chapter. An influencer DM'd me. Meet me tomorrow. I want it. And I want to talk. I looked at the screen for a long time. This was not just survival anymore. This was something else. Something bigger. I had flipped 22 pairs in 48 hours. But more than that, I had flipped the story they wrote for me. And now I was writing my own. I did not know the video would blow up. I posted it like I always did. Raw, messy, real. Just me sitting on the curb with my last pair of sneakers in my lap, saying, "This is all I got left." But I flipped 21 pairs in 2 days. From sleeping outside to standing on my own. If you got nothing, you still got a chance. That was it. No fancy edits. No music. No filters. I fell asleep under a train overpass that night, phone at 5%, no charger in sight. When I woke up, everything was different. My notifications were out of control. Thousands of likes, comments,
Shares.
people tagging friends, dropping fire emojis, calling me inspiring, real, a future boss. My name was trending on sneaker forums. Someone even made a meme about me holding the shoes like they were gold bars. I was shocked. Then I laughed. Then I almost cried. Because for the first time, people saw me. Not as a dropout. Not as a homeless kid. But as something more. By noon, I had 10 DMs from buyers. By evening, I had 50. One message stood out. Hey, this is Nico from the Hustle Pod.
Saw your video.
Want to share your story? I read it twice. I did not know who he was, but the profile looked legit. I replied, sure.
When?
Tomorrow. We record downtown. I will send you an Uber. An Uber. I had not been in a car in months. The next day, I stood in front of the mirror in a public bathroom trying to make my hoodie look clean. I washed my face 3 times. Tied my shoes tight. Even straightened my posture like I belonged in a room. The Uber came. I got in. Quiet. Focused. When I walked into the studio, the producer smiled. You're Malik, right? Yeah.
Good.
We love your energy. Just be you. I sat down. The mic was cold. The lights were hot. Nico leaned in.
So tell me, man.
Who are you really? I took a breath. I am just a kid who refused to wait for permission to start. The interview went viral the next day. Again. My follower count doubled. A sneaker YouTuber reached out. Let's collab. I will bring you kicks. You show people how to flip. I said yes. Then a big reseller brand sent a message. We want to partner. Use your story. Build something real. They offered to fly me out. Put me in a guest house.
Help me grow.
It was overwhelming. I did not even have a proper bank account yet. But I knew I could not let this moment pass. I sat on a park bench that night, holding a hot dog in one hand and my phone in the other. I whispered to myself, you asked for a door. Now it is open. Do not run. But part of me was scared. Not of success, but of losing it. I had seen how fast fame fades. One day you are viral. The next day, nobody cares. I needed to be smart, to build something that would outlive the hype. That is when I came up with the name, Outcast Supply. A brand for people like me. People who got thrown out, counted out, left out. The logo was a cracked crown. Because even broken things can wear royalty. I made the design on a borrowed laptop. Printed a test tee with leftover money. Posted the photo wearing it in front of a train station. The caption read, built from nothing. Worn by the ones who rise anyway. People loved it. Comments flooded in. Where can I buy this? Drop the link. Need this in my life. I was not ready. I had no inventory. No store. Just one shirt and a dream. But I made a promise that night. No more just surviving. I was going to build something they could never ignore again. Even if it meant losing sleep. Even if it meant starting over every day. Even if I had to carry it alone. Because for the first time, I was not invisible anymore. I was becoming undeniable. The warehouse was not much. A dusty old space behind a tire shop, with cracks on the walls and flickering lights. But to me, it felt like a palace. I signed the lease with shaky hands and a borrowed ID. Paid 3 months upfront using money from the collab deals and sneaker flips. And just like that, I had my own space. A home for Outcast Supply. I slept there the first night. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to feel what I had built. It smelled like oil and cardboard. It echoed when I walked. But it was mine. The next morning, I called 2 people I trusted. Dre and Alina. Dre used to run with the flea market crowd. He knew how to move product fast. Alina was a graphic designer I met on TikTok. Smart. Sharp. Always 10 steps ahead. Look, I told them. I can pay you weekly. Nothing big.
Yet.
But I want to grow this right. Dre nodded. Say less. I believe in it. Alina smiled. I am in. Let us build something stupid big. We started with a single table and a whiteboard. Inventory, orders,
Shipping.
TikTok content, drop schedules, sizing charts. Everything scribbled in black marker. Orders came in fast. Our first hoodie drop sold out in a weekend. We launched limited tees and did surprise giveaways. People started tagging us in their outfits. Hashtags spread. One guy even tattooed the cracked crown on his forearm. That is when I felt it. We were not just selling clothes. We were building a movement, but not everyone was clapping. One afternoon, I walked into the warehouse and found Dre pacing. We got a problem, he said. What happened? He showed me a message thread. Another reseller crew, big in the sneaker scene, was calling me out. Said I was faking my story, that I stole designs, that I was using sympathy to sell cheap gear. I laughed, but only for a second, because their words started spreading. A few TikTok creators picked it up. One guy even made a video titled, "Is Outcast Supply just another scam?" We lost 2 collab deals that week. An influencer canceled a shoot. Refund requests doubled. Dre slammed his fist on the table. These clowns are messing with the wrong people, man. But I stayed quiet, because deep down, I was scared. Not scared of them. Scared of losing everything I had just started to build. I paced for hours that night. No sleep. No appetite. Just noise in my head. Was this it? Was this where it all fell apart? Then Alina said something that snapped me out of it. They are only attacking because you are loud enough to threaten them. If you were nobody, they would not care. She was right. And I realized something. You do not get enemies until you matter. So I decided to respond. Not with drama. Not with comments or shade. But with work. We dropped a behind-the-scenes video. No edits. No script. Just raw clips of me sleeping in the warehouse, packing orders, sketching designs. I added a caption. Built from pain. Powered by truth. We are not perfect, but we are real. That video went viral. Again. Bigger than before. And the hate? It started to fade. Because people saw us. They saw how hard we worked. They saw that we were not chasing clout. We were chasing purpose. We sold out our next drop in 1 hour. By the end of that month, we upgraded the warehouse. Got racks. Labeled bins. A legit shipping table. We even hired 2 more people. But I never forgot that week. The silence. The doubt. The way people turned fast. I learned a lesson I still carry today. When you build from nothing, people cheer. When you start winning, people watch. But when you win too loud, they come for you. That is when you show them what you are made of. Not through words, but through the work. It started on a Monday. The kind of Monday that feels too quiet. Like something is waiting in the dark, holding its breath. I walked into the warehouse, coffee in hand, ready to lock in for the week. But Dre was already pacing. Eyes wide. Face pale. Check the website, he said. I pulled out my phone, tapped the link, and froze.
Our site was gone.
The homepage now showed some glitchy screen with a spinning skull logo and the words, "Outcast is fake." Just like their story. I stared, refreshed. Same screen, same message. I logged into our backend, locked out, tried Instagram. Nothing. Twitter.
Gone.
Our entire digital presence, deleted, hijacked, poisoned. What the hell is this? I whispered. Alina came running in. TikTok too. All our videos are wiped. Bio says scam brand run by a liar. My chest tightened. This was not a joke. This was not a troll. This was a hit. Someone had gone deep. Found a way into everything we built online. Months of work. Thousands of followers. All erased overnight. By noon, screenshots of the hacked pages were circulating online. Some people laughed. Others believed it. The DMs started pouring in. Is this true? Did you fake your story? Are your shoes legit? I tried to reply. Tried to explain. But the noise was louder than the truth. That same day, 2 sponsors pulled out. We cannot be involved in controversy, they said. Another emailed, "We need to protect our brand." We lost 70% of our revenue in 2 weeks. 70%. It felt like someone had reached into my chest and ripped out everything I had worked for. I stopped sleeping.
Stopped eating.
Every morning felt like a punch I had to stand up from. Dre tried to stay positive. "We will bounce back, bro. This is temporary." But I could see it in his eyes. He was scared too. Even Alina, always sharp and steady, looked shaken.
"They hit us hard," she said.
Whoever did this knew what they were doing. I nodded. But inside, I felt numb. For the first time since I left home, I thought about quitting. Walking away. Disappearing. Because what was the point of building anything if it could all vanish in one night? I sat alone on the warehouse floor one night, staring at the blank wall where our whiteboard used to be. I wanted to scream, but I had no voice left. Then my phone buzzed. No name. No profile photo. Just a number. The message said, "They hacked you because you scared them. I can help. But you need to trust me." I almost deleted it. Thought it was another scam. Another insult. But something about it felt different. I replied,
"Who are you?"
The answer came back fast. "Call me Zero. I used to work with them. Not anymore." I paused. "Them? You mean the crew that attacked us?"
"Yes."
"I built their first phishing script. I know their tactics. I know what they planted in your back end. I also know how to take it back." My hands were sweating. "Why help me?" I asked. Long pause. Then the reply. "Because you remind me of who I was before I sold out." That line hit hard. I called Dre and Alina. Told them everything. We debated it for hours. "This could be a setup," Dre warned. "Or our only shot," Alina said. I took the risk. Over the next week, I followed Zero's steps. We rebuilt firewalls, recovered backup data, pulled cached pages from hidden servers, even used old Instagram drafts to relaunch key posts.
It was not easy.
It was not fast, but it worked. Slowly, piece by piece, we came back online. Followers returned. Supporters posted welcome back messages. A sneaker blog covered our comeback with the headline, "Outcast Supply refuses to die." It was not just a win. It was a resurrection. But the damage left a scar. I learned that success is not just about building fast. It is about building strong. It is about having people around you who will not flinch when the fire starts. And trusting strangers who show up when no one else does. Zero never gave a real name. Never asked for money. Just one final message after the dust settled. "Keep going. They will try again. Just make sure you are always harder to kill." And I promised myself something that night. Next time someone comes for us, they will not find a weak brand or a broken kid. They will find a storm. Burning something you built is not easy. Even if it was broken. Even if it almost killed you. But I knew Outcast Supply had run its course. The name carried weight, but it also carried wounds. The hacks, the lies, the rumors, they stuck to it like rust. No matter how many wins we stacked after that, the name felt tainted. So I killed it. One night, just me, Dre, and Alina sitting on the warehouse floor. "I am done with Outcast," I said. They both looked at me like I had gone crazy. "You sure?" Dre asked. "That name built everything." I nodded. "Exactly. It built the beginning. Now, we build what lasts." Alina leaned forward. "All right. Then what do we call the next chapter?" I had been thinking about that for weeks. Writing words in notebooks. Sketching logos on napkins. Searching for something that felt like me now, not who I was when I started. I opened my sketch pad and slid it across the floor. At the top, bold letters read, "Dead Run." Dre blinked. "That sounds dark." "Good," I said. "It is supposed to." Alina tilted her head. "What does it mean?" I looked them both in the eye. "It means we were counted out. Left for dead. But we ran anyway. We moved anyway. We made something out of ashes." Silence. Then Alina smiled. "That is raw. That is honest." Dre nodded slowly. "All right. Let us make Dead Run a problem." We spent the next 2 months rebuilding everything. New logo. New colors. New tone. Everything sharper. Less polished. More street. More real. We dropped the first Dead Run capsule with 0 ads. Just a video of me walking through the city at night, wearing a black hoodie with the new Cracked Flame logo on the back. No words. No music. Just the sound of footsteps echoing. Caption: You cannot kill what already survived. The internet ate it up. People reposted it. Creators made duets. Old fans came back. New ones pulled in. Within 48 hours, every item was gone.
Gone.
Sold out so fast the site crashed twice. We scrambled in the warehouse trying to keep up with shipping. Boxes everywhere. Tape rolls snapping. Labels printing nonstop. It was chaos. Beautiful chaos. I stopped in the middle of it all, sweat on my face, heartbeat in my ears. And I smiled. Because this time it felt different. This was not just a comeback. This was evolution. We partnered with underground artists, gave a percentage of profits to street shelters, held design contests for kids with nowhere else to turn. Dead Run was not just a brand. It was a platform. People connected to it in a way I never expected. They saw the pain behind the name. They wore it like armor. I started getting messages from kids across the country. Your story gave me the guts to start my own hustle. Dead Run makes me feel seen. I thought I was alone until I saw your video. That was when I knew we had tapped into something real. Not hype. Not trends. Something deeper. But the deeper you go, the more the world notices. The bigger we got, the louder the whispers returned. Not just from strangers, but from someone I never thought I would hear from again. My father. The email landed in my inbox on a quiet Tuesday morning. No subject line. Just this: I have been watching. Impressive growth. Let me know if you're open to meeting. We could build something great. Together. I stared at the screen for a long time. My hands shook. Not from anger. Not from excitement. But from the weight of every memory behind that name. He was the first one to say I would fail. The first one to shut the door. The one who said I was nothing without his plan. Now here he was, trying to walk through a door I built with my own 2 hands. And for the first time, I realized I was not angry anymore. I did not need his apology. I did not need his approval. Because I had already won. Not just the money. Not just the sales. But the right to say, I became everything you said I could not. I was in the middle of a team meeting when it hit my inbox. The subject line was empty. Just a name I had not seen in over 2 years. James R. Taylor. My father. I did not open it right away. I just stared at the screen while Alina was breaking down our next campaign strategy. Her voice faded. The room blurred. All I could see was that name. For a second, I thought maybe it was a mistake. A wrong email. A ghost from another timeline. But it was real. I clicked. Malik. I have been watching. Quietly. At first, out of curiosity. But now, out of respect. What you have built is not just impressive, it is inspiring. I know we ended things badly. I know I said things that were harsh. But I want you to know, I am proud of you. If you're open to it, I would like to meet. Not just as father and son, but as possible partners. I think we could create something great together. I read it twice. Then a third time. And all I could do was sit there, silent. Dre leaned over. Yo, you good? I nodded slowly.
Yeah.
Just got something I did not expect. I told no one what it was. Not yet. Not even Alina. Because the truth is, I did not know how I felt. Proud?
Confused?
Angry? All of it. At once. This was the same man who looked me in the eye and said, if you are not going to college, you are no longer part of this family. He erased me like a typo, cut me off like a loose wire. And now he wanted in. Not just back in my life, but in my business. In my dream. I spent the whole night walking the city. Thinking. I walked past the bench I used to sleep on. The bus stop where I sold my first pair. The diner where I borrowed Wi-Fi to watch TikToks about sneaker flipping. Back then, I begged the world to notice me. Now, the man who once told me I was nothing was asking to collaborate. I could not sleep. By sunrise, I opened my laptop, started typing,
Stopped.
typed again, deleted it all. I stared at a blank reply box for 30 minutes. Because no matter how far I had come, there was still that old version of me. The 18-year-old kid with a backpack and $47, waiting for his father to say those words. I am proud of you. And now that he had said it, it did not land the way I thought it would. It did not heal. It did not undo the nights I slept cold. It did not erase the silence. It just reminded me that sometimes they only see your worth once the world sees it first. By noon, Alina found me sitting on the loading dock. She dropped a bag of chips in my lap. You look like someone ran you over with a memory. I laughed under my breath. I got an email from my dad. She blinked. Wait, seriously? What did he say? I told her. All of it. Her face tightened. And? You gonna meet with him? I do not know, I said. That is the problem. She leaned back, stared at the sky for a second. Let me ask you something. If he was just some guy in a suit who pitched a business deal out of nowhere, would you say yes?
No.
Exactly. But he is not just some guy, I said. He is the guy who raised me,
Who gave me the name I carry.
the one who taught me how to shake a hand, how to never quit, how to never lie.
Yeah, she said.
And the same guy who kicked you out for dreaming different. That hit
Hard.
because it was true. I sat with that for hours. Did not eat. Did not move. Just sat in silence, feeling the weight of something that could never be fixed. By midnight, I opened the email again. Read it one last time. Then I started typing. James, I appreciate your message. It took me a long time to get to where I am. Not just in business, but in belief, in healing. And I did it without you. I do not say that to be cruel. I say it to be clear. The door you closed forced me to build my own. And now that I have, I am not looking to share the keys.
I hope you find peace with that.
Malik. I hit send. No second thoughts. No regrets. Because sometimes closure does not come with a hug. Sometimes it comes with a full stop. And that night, for the first time in years, I slept without needing to look back. I stood behind the curtain, staring at the red circle on the floor. The TEDx letters behind it glowed under the stage lights like they were waiting to judge me. My hands were cold, my throat dry, but my heart calm. Because for the first time in my life, I was not speaking to prove anything. I was speaking to remind people that being thrown away does not mean you stay down forever. The host called my name. I stepped out. Applause. But I barely heard it. I saw faces. Young. Old. Curious. I saw eyes that had seen pain. Eyes that were waiting for something real. I took the mic. My name is Malik Taylor. And when I was 18, I got kicked out of my house for chasing a dream instead of a degree. The room went still. You could feel it. I told them about the $47, the nights under streetlights, the sneakers I cleaned with napkins, the videos I watched outside laundromats. I told them about the brand I built, the warehouse, the hate, the comeback, and the silence in my father's house when I chose myself instead of his approval. People leaned in, not because of what I had, but because of what I lost. Then I paused, took a breath. There was one part one had never shared. Not online. Not in interviews.
Not even with my team.
Because some things feel too big to explain until you are finally ready. I looked at the crowd, then into the cameras. Let me tell you the truth about the night everything changed. A few heads tilted. I continued. That night I landed 22 pairs of sneakers from a glitch. It was not luck. I made that glitch.
Gasps.
Whispers. A few stunned faces. I built a basic auto-checkout script. Nothing fancy. I had no money. No connections. Just a cracked laptop, a stolen Wi-Fi signal, and desperation that felt like fire in my veins. I smiled. Not proud. Just honest. I knew the store system was unstable during midnight drops. I watched it fail week after week. So I learned. I coded. I adapted. And when the world blinked, I did not. The room was silent. I never told anyone because I thought it would ruin the story. But now I know this is the story. It was not magic. It was not a handout. It was not even legal by most standards. It was raw survival turned into innovation. I let that sit. Felt the tension. Felt the fear in some. The admiration in others. Then I leaned forward. I am not asking you to copy what I did. I am asking you to understand where it came from. When the world gives you nothing, you either break or you build. I stepped back. Let the words breathe. Being rejected did not destroy me.
It revealed me.
And now, I stand here not as a brand owner, not as a viral name, but as a voice for every kid who got told they were a mistake. Just because their dream did not come wrapped in a diploma. The room erupted, not into loud applause, but something deeper. A standing silence. A stillness full of tears, nods, clenched fists. And then I looked straight into the camera, like I was speaking to my 18-year-old self. Or to anyone who had ever been thrown away. They called me a failure. They deleted me like a problem. But today, the world listens. Not because I am rich. Not because I am famous. But because I had the courage to be right too early. I stayed true when it hurt. And now, they cannot ignore my name, because I made peace with losing theirs. I walked off the stage to silence. And somehow, that silence was the loudest standing ovation I had ever felt. Sometimes the world will not wait for you to figure things out. Sometimes it will push you out before you are ready. And when it does, you have two choices. You either let that rejection define you, or you let it refine you. This story is not just about sneakers or warehouses or even going viral. It is about what happens when you choose your vision over their validation. When you stop waiting for approval and start building without permission. Malik's journey is proof that rock bottom is not the end. It is just the floor you build greatness on. And sometimes, the people who walk away from you are doing you a favor, because they leave you with only one voice left to believe in. Yours. So if you are out there feeling like an outcast, just remember, the greatest stories are often written by the ones no one believed in at first. Thank you for watching. If this story hit home for you, do us a favor. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support means everything and helps us keep bringing you stories that matter.